Welcome to the Wealth Genius Podcast, brought to you by the Expand Wealth Real Estate Fund. Expand your wealth by investing in apartment buildings. Go to expandwealthfund.com to book your info session. The Wealth Genius Podcast, strategies for multifamily real estate investing, mindset, community, success. The Wealth Genius Podcast with your host, the godfather of real estate, Alfonso Cuadra, who has expansive experience in business and massive success as a real estate investor. The Wealth Genius Podcast. Let's dive into today's episode.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
My brother. Look, you were gonna come on the podcast before,
Yes.
and you couldn't make it.
Yeah.
You know, you're a world traveler, and I finally got you. And for me, it was important ever since we met in Montreal, if you remember.
Yep. Synergy.
Yeah, synergy. And I remember listening to your story. This was the first time that I knew about you through. We have your cousin is one of my best friends,
Yeah.
and so I knew that you were in the industry, but I didn't like put it all together. And then I heard your story, and then I was inspired, because I come from housing, and I come from those same parts, and I came here as a refugee, and so I can resonate with kind of your coming up from there and starting a business. And so let's start there.
Yes.
I want to start there. How did you get into mortgages? Are you still involved? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to, finally for us to sit down and chat. Like,
let's do it.
We met in 2021 at that Synergy event in Montreal. It was in
Wow.
COVID.
Yeah, it was during COVID.
Yeah. So, for us to come back, 3 years later and, really connect, it's really great to see your success too.
Yeah,
you know what I
appreciate
mean?
that,
And
brother.
just appreciate the work that you're putting into and helping people grow and monetize and succeed. It's a pleasure to see that, you know what I mean? So for myself, Shawn Allen, I started humbly too, right? So, from Scarborough, I represent Scarborough. This is a Scarborough jacket. I'm always repping Scarborough.
Yeah, and I see that inspiring tomorrow's leaders.
Yes.
And that is exactly the mantra that I live by.
Yeah.
Because I'm a leader of leaders.
Yeah.
And I want if you create more leaders, then that means more people take more responsibility over themselves, their lives, and then they lead their communities, their people, their families. So I love that.
Yeah, so that's what it's all about, right? You got to give back. It's service without servitude.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. Just giving back wholly without expecting anything in return. And my roots are from the east end of Toronto, Scarborough, Morningside to be exact. I got this Morningside shirt, and you know what? It's just about staying grounded in your roots. You know what I mean? And for myself, like yourself and many of us here in Canada, I came from immigrant parents. They came here looking for a better opportunity. They got plugged in how they were plugged in, and then I took that opportunity and said, hey, I want to elevate that for myself. And that's where I'm at now. I started a I help other people grow businesses, and right now it's a lot about giving back, right? So that's kind of where I guess the beginning stages of what I got into. Right?
And someone changed that concept for me, and then then ever since I've been sharing it with people, and then it just like kind of changes the whole idea of giving back. So we're kind of the same. We want to help. We want to contribute. We want to have an impact. That's the way I feel. And then I was talking to someone, and they kind of like changed the way I look at it. He's like, look, language is very powerful. And, everyone, and I get it, everyone says giving back. But really, you're just giving because you didn't take anything that didn't belong to you, right? And that's an old mindset, or it's part of our language where we say we're giving back. We got there, and now we have to give back, And, just it really changed my view of philanthropy where it's not like you're giving back. You're giving. You're essentially just giving of your time, your money, whatever resources, whatever. You're creating an opportunity for someone. And you know, I you know, after he said that, I never stopped thinking about it. I'm like, that's true. I never took anything that didn't belong to me. I'm not giving anything back. I'm just simply adding to. I'm giving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you do a lot of giving of yourself, giving of resources, and you do all of these things. You know, Toronto Business Summit, you know, trying to be part of the solution. You know, there's a housing crisis. We all know about it. You know, people living in tents. And so where does that come from?
Yeah, that's, you know, it's that innate feeling within inside yourself that you want to give back to the community and help and just make things better, right? Yeah. So the Toronto Business Summit came out of a need through COVID where businesses, because, you know, my background is finance, I was seeing businesses struggle to make ends meet, right? So there was a lot of programs that were available, but they weren't being shared in a way that was palatable for most people to capture the information, right? So, you know, with my team, we put together the Toronto Business Summit. We got a great support system through the University of Toronto Centennial College that really, you know, helped us put the vision together. You know, Donovan Dillep at Cecile at the University of Toronto was great, instrumental part of that. Sarah Summers, Ryan Summer, Craig Slowly, like that. That's my core team. And we really put effort into, you know, creating an outlet for businesses to come to get information. So we reached out to the city of Toronto and said, hey, could you come on board and really educate people on what's available to help businesses because they're really struggling through COVID. And we had a lot of other resources, the United Way, you know, BDC, Alternative Savings, and a lot of other institutional partners or anchor partners within the community. So we said, hey, let's get together, and we put this Toronto Business Summit together. And it really took off. We got, you know, almost 3,000 people there for our first attempt to put something like that together. And it was just a great opportunity and an eye-opening opportunity to see what we can do to support the community. And then out of that, you know, having that success of that event, it really kind of put us at the forefront of that conversation. So my role at that time when we put that together, I was part of the Scarborough Business Association, which I'm still a part of. I'm actually on my way out. I'm the president currently, but my term is coming up to an end. And just being a part of that ecosystem really helped me with awareness of what resources were there, and then we funneled that through to the Business Summit, and it turned out to be a success. And then from that, we channeled that energy into a housing summit, and that was we started with the Business Summit last year, 2023 September. Then we did the housing summit this year, May. Mm-hmm. We did the housing summit this year, May, and then that we had 2,200 people come out for that.
Wow!
Right? So, just bringing the people together and connecting on, issues that are affecting the community, that was kind of the driving force behind that.
So how do you become so connected in the community? What is the process that someone that could go through to be, because I see you pictures with the mayor, I see you, doing all of these things. How does someone get so integrated? Because through that integration that you have, you're kind of in the inside in a way, you can have more impact, because people are going to listen to your voice.
Yeah.
How do you create that? How would someone go about creating that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, what people need to that want to get, certain access to certain, supports, you got to be involved, right? You got to make yourself available. You got to give. You got to give your time wholeheartedly without expecting anything in return. My first, real attempt at that was when I joined the Scarborough Business Association in 2018.
Were you intentional with that? Like, did you say, I want to do this and I want to be more involved with community and I want to be a part of the people sitting around the table?
Yeah, so that's a great point. It's either you're at the table or you're on the table, right? That's what it is, right? So talking about the table, I used to live in I'm from Scarborough. I lived in Markham for 8 years, and then it came a point where I had the opportunity to liquidate what I had in Markham, and the opportunity arose that I was able to move back to Scarborough, right? And most people that leave Scarborough can't come back because the prices are of such that it's not really feasible. But I had the opportunity to come back, and then I think what made it beneficial, because I was supposed to move to Lindsay, right? So I wouldn't be, Shawn Allen, Scarborough Walk of Fame, all this other accolades I got if I moved to Lindsay, you know what I mean? And I think just moving back to Scarborough kind of opened up the gateway for me to say, hey, how do I get involved in the community? And then I joined the Scarborough Business Association in 2018. I moved back to Scarborough 2017, joined the association 2018. And then through that, I got channeled into, working with the association, trying to build out that association. And that's where I got exposed to, hosting the Mayor's Lunch, right? So we hosted the Mayor's Lunch, and, Matrix was at the peak at that time. We were winning numerous awards, Broker of the Year, top 75 in the world for mortgages and all these other accolades. And I wanted to give back to the association because I felt it was strong to give back to the community that I came from, right? So by joining the Scarborough Business Association, it led me to a path of having access within the community through the Scarborough Health Network Hospital. I was born in Scarborough at the Scarborough Health Network, Scarborough Business Association, working with the University of Toronto, Centennial College, all the other Scarborough anchor institutions. And then from that, I just kept at it. I stuck with it, and I'm the longest serving member right now. It's 6 years. My term is up at the end of the month. I'm going to stay on for another year just to help with the transition. But through that, affiliation and that relationship, it led me into, creating my own not-for-profit organization, right? Matrix Cares. I created that in 2019. And that was built on just the sheer emotion of, going with Superfan, Nav, shout out to Nav and Rinku and the whole team with Nav's foundation and Sam McDaddy and the whole team. We were traveling back and forth with the Raptors, on their championship run, Orlando, Philly, Milwaukee, and we were flying on private jets going out to these games, and the ticket prices for the nosebleeds was $2,000. And I was like, wow, this is unaffordable, right? It's just like the average person can't afford, and I'm sitting courtside, you know what I mean? So I was just like, how do you give back in the sense that, okay, the community supported me in such a way that, I'm able to be at this position, but then it's not fair that, not everyone could be there, right? And some people that, I grew up with, maybe you grew up with, whatever. It's like when you elevate, you want to make sure that you're bringing the people with you. That's what true leaders do. They want to elevate others. But you can't bring everyone with you all the time, right? So, when the season was over, I reached out to my rep at MLSC, and I was like, hey, I want to do something special, right? I want to, do something to give back to the community and help and support. And he's like, what are you thinking? I was like, I want to book the arena. He's like, book the arena? I was like, yeah, I want to book the arena. So he's like, okay. 3 days notice, he said, hey, we got the arena, and 300 kids and their families took out the court, put the OVO court down, 300 kids playing basketball at Scotiabank. And that was kind of the start of, okay, this is my personal legacy that we're building with Matrix Cares. And that's where we started, right? So
you got, how many kids came?
About 300.
And how did you, logistically, how do you get 300 young people to this?
It was a nightmare. We had to give them waivers. It was crazy. It was like the notice was so short that we had to get the waivers out, get the waivers back, set up the logistics with the security team. buy water and supplies for coffee for everyone to drink. Because a rainy morning, we had to stop at Tim Hortons, get all this type of stuff. It was crazy.
Can I get 300?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but we got it done. And
what year was that?
2019.
2019. So that's before COVID.
Before COVID. So the Raptors just won, and then October 2019 is when we did that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Right? And then, who's playing?
When at the game?
Yeah,
just kids and their parents.
So they're playing in the
on the arena. I booked the whole arena.
Oh, I thought maybe they were watching. Maybe
no,
they had some of the.
No, they're on the court playing.
Wow.
We had 3 sets. We had like a under 10 group, like a teenage group, and then we had an adult group.
Imagine, now you're like, and how old were these young people?
Different ages, but it's like we had under 10, then we had teenagers, then we had adults.
So imagine you get to play in a professional.
We had the OVO court.
Oh
we requested it. They put the OVO court down.
Yeah. That's inspiring.
Yeah,
inspiring. That's really. And so, so then this continued.
Yeah, so that momentum continued. Then we started to host like fundraiser events in the suites, right? And we hosted. I think it was like I shared a suite with a colleague of mine, and we brought in. I think it was like maybe 30, 60 people, maybe 50 people, 25 each, right?
Every I don't know when it is exactly, but I see all these pictures online.
Yeah.
I'm like, everyone is with Shawn at this game, and I'm still waiting for the invite.
I'm gonna invite you. I'm gonna invite you right now. The next one's gonna be April 4th, 2025. You're invited.
I see it. I'm like, everyone I know is at this game right now. What's going on? So that's
our annual fundraiser. So we started that 2018. I think we started that 2018 with when we started with Raptors 905. They kind of demonstrated what that looked like because they were giving back to the season ticket holders for Raptors 905. And we initially got in with that. 2019, we did it again. And then in 2020, COVID hit. So we just squeaked out in COVID, the 2020 episode for that. And then the next day, like, the whole place shut down, right? So we got that done. And we always hosted in the week. It's a business, get our business clients, our vendors, our partners, whatever like that. And we turned it into a fundraiser, right? So you buy your tickets, and then a portion of the ticket sales goes to different initiatives. So, we raise funds for, like, we give back to Feed Scarborough, food security initiative. A lot of people right now are suffering with food insecurity. So, Feed Scarborough with Suman Roy at the helm of that, they feed about 8,000 people a week, right? Because it's just unaffordable to purchase food. So we give back to that. We donate tickets to the Scarborough Health Network. They raffle it off, and then they send people to the games and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different outreach we can do because everyone likes basketball. Win, lose, or draw. The team's not that great this year, but people want to go to a game.
I mean, that's called a real team.
Yeah.
Whether they're winning or losing, that place is going to be full.
Yeah.
And people still have an interest. It's fun to go and watch it.
Yeah.
The reason why Vancouver didn't work out is because people will only show up when they're winning.
Yeah.
You can't. That's not realistic.
No. And then we had this year we hosted 2 events. This was my first time doing 2 events at Scotiabank. So we did the Vince Carter party, right? So that was a great opportunity. So when they did the shirt, the jersey,
I watched it. And that was nice.
Yeah, we had about like 300 people for that one.
Wow.
Right. So normally we book out all the suites, and we just bring a whole bunch of people to that. But that was a very special one because you got Vince Carter, the jersey retired, and all of that stuff. So it was a pretty good situation we had there.
So in my view, you could probably run for mayor and you're gonna win. You can win by a landslide, because you're in. You're. I mean, that's kind of. Have you thought about politics or?
I did. I was approached several times. The problem I have with politics is that I've been self-employed for 22 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you get tied into politics, it's like, you go federal, you're tied into the provincial, you're tied into the premier, right? You're tied into, whatever the party says. And a lot of times, because I'm dealing with these people, You know, I don't want to be tied into one line.
You don't want to be put in
I don't want to be put in a box. I'm gonna lose 33% of. I'm gonna lose 66% of my, you know, network if I'm tied into liberals and I'm dealing with NDP and conservative people or undecided people. I'm gonna cut them out. If I pick, you know, the PC side, I'm gonna lose the other side. I just want to just be left alone. Just leave me alone. Yeah. And then I was at you know, an event earlier this year, and the whole issue with the Middle East and Palestine and all that. There was some heavy police presence, RCMP presence, and this was an event with Councillor Moise and Marcy Ian. They had their New Year's levy earlier this year, and you know, I was like, oh, there's a lot of police presence here. RCMP like blocked off the street. I was like. And this is where I said I don't want to be in that type of politics, right? I was just like, there was protest. There was so much police presence, and then there was a protest in the event. Like, people were holding up flags and stuff like that. And Marcy Ian, shout out to her, like she really handled that well, right? Because she took the time, stopped her presentation, took the protesters in the back room, sat, cried with them. And she came back. And I talked to her. I was like, "Yo, how do you do this?" She's like, "Yo, it's so hard because you're tied to a party line, and you have to make decisions based on the party line. But they might not really tie into your personal values. But because you're doing it for the country, you're going to be put in situations that are uncomfortable. And I don't have the skin for that, right? I'm just used to doing my own thing. Leave me alone. I'm the top of my castle, whatever. You know what I mean? So
I feel the same way. You know, when people when people bring up that subject, you know, I think I can have more impact outside of politics. You know, because again, you're not tied to a particular party, and you don't go along with all the ideology that whatever that party stands for. Because there's only like really in Canada we got 3 options. In the US you got 2 options. You know, and so they bulk in all of the things. I'm just pro efficiency, like you know that, you know, liberals or conservatives. Who has the policies that are in line with me today, right? What I believed in 20 years ago is different than what I believe in now, right? Different circumstances. You got your star, Scarborough Hall of Fame, and how did that feel?
Yeah, it was actually. I got this in 2022 for business, and that day, to be honest, was actually a very hard day, because I had a boat cruise the day before, a networking boat cruise, and that night I came off the boat because my mother, my brother found her. Collapsed on the floor.
Wow.
Right. So actually, no one ever knew this story. I just came back from Atlanta on the Monday, had the boat cruise on the Wednesday, and the award ceremony was a Thursday. But my mother was in the hospital, right, fighting for her life, and she ended up passing a few months after that. And it was the hardest day because I couldn't go up on stage and really be present, knowing that my mother was fighting for her life.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. So even right now, talking about it's really tough. But, that was the situation with that.
You didn't fully enjoy
I didn't fully enjoy it. I didn't fully enjoy it.
It's almost like it didn't even happen.
Right.
But, you know, now reflecting on it, you're like, oh, shoot, that was a pretty amazing thing.
It was a cool experience and a lot of great
from
people.
Your community,
the
work that you've done.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And is your mom okay?
She's passed. She passed.
Sorry to hear that. I think I missed that part. I thought that
she passed November 26, 2022. I got the star in September.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, brother. Sorry to hear that. Matrix.
Yeah.
You got. So the last time we talked about Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm still involved.
They made a run. You know,
buy Bitcoin.
Like you were making Bitcoin sexy again.
It's still sexy. When we talked about it in 2020 21, it was like 15,000, 30,000.
Wow.
It's 100,000.
Yeah,
right? If everyone stuck with me, I'm telling you, you guys stuck with me at that time, you guys would be mega rich right now, right? So buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the economy, the dollar, the rate, interest rates just came down 50 points on yesterday. And people are saying, yeah, the market's great. The 50-point base cut. But no, it's not that great, man. People cut rates because the economy's weak. You know what I mean? So, and then we got, Trump saying he's going to throw tariffs on the place and the whole world's up in arms and everyone's. So I'm saying you better do your research.
Well, I'm from El Salvador, right?
El Salvador is a crypto country.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And
shout out to El Salvador. Your prime minister there, president there, he's a gangster, man.
Yeah, man. He's that's why, it takes courage to lead.
Yeah.
It's not everybody's. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you're leading people, everyone has different emotions. Like in all the committees, and I mean the companies, everything that you run, you're dealing with people.
Yeah.
And people are going left, people are going right, people are doing this, that. Everybody has their own. Everybody's living in their own bubble.
Here's the thing: anyone could steer a ship, but it takes a true leader to chart the course.
That's it.
That's it.
And he has. There was a conviction that he has, and integrity, and when someone is corrupt, you can see. Maybe you don't see it at first, but then you start seeing some. The moves. Okay, I knew it. But he did what he said that he was going to do.
Yeah.
And then that way you get the people's support.
Yeah.
And we've never looked back since.
Crime is down.
Everything is down. Everything.
Tourism's up.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing, and innovative ideas. Like Bitcoin, building a Bitcoin city, and all these things that are coming up in the future. So I know that crypto will be a very big part of.
You hold crypto?
What's that?
You hold crypto?
I hold real estate. You know me.
You gotta hold crypto too. Crypto is
I
digital real estate.
I get it. The way that I understand crypto.
Yeah.
Is like it's currency.
It is currency.
So pay me however you want to pay me. Pay me in crypto. Pay me in dollars. Pay me in pesos. But I'm gonna convert it all back to real estate.
Yeah.
And so
you see what Grant Cardone said.
Yeah, tokenizing the tokenizing the crypto, right?
Tokenizing the cash flow on the real estate.
Yeah.
Into cryptocurrency.
Yeah. That intrigues me, right?
We'll take that offline. We'll set that up.
No, so I wanted to know if okay, we're still on it because I know we had that conversation and that was good. So look, you're inspiring. I'm glad you came on the show.
Yeah.
What do you live by? What inspires you? What got you going? What wakes you up in the morning?
People, man. People like you inspire me. You know what I mean? People out there doing their thing and, really, really supporting the people around them, right? Because a lot of times you already know how it is. You help people and you help them to a fault, right? Because people always come in, they got their hand up, Alfonso, give me some more, give me some more, give me some more. It's the same thing. You just got to circumvent that and just really be true to yourself and true to your commitments of really, helping to uplift people. And that's kind of how I live my life. I have joy in helping other people succeed.
Yeah.
Right? That's what drives me. I know that I'm going to get my benefit, whether it's cash today or my children tomorrow or my children's children. Like, I'm blessed either way. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily need you to compensate me monetarily for a service that I do for you. But as long as you treat me with respect and I treat you with respect, we're cool.
I love it. Right? I love it. And your information will be in the show notes. Yeah. What do you want the audience to take from this interview? What do you want them to do? What would you like? What do you want to encourage more people to do?
I think what people need to do right now is they need to look for alternative sources of revenue, right? Because, people are far too pigeonholed into one aspect. So one of the things I started doing is diversifying into global markets. So I created an association called the Canadian Afro-Caribbean Business Trade Association, and that came on through my affiliation with the Canadian Asian Pacific Trade Association. And that organization, they brought me on as a director through my affiliations and other organizations and other groups to say, hey, we need some diversification through the Canadian and Asian lens, right? So they just came back from a trade mission from Indonesia and the Philippines, and it kind of put me in a position to say, hey, what's happening with the Caribbean market? What's happening with the African market? The African market's a little more stronger, but the Caribbean market is not as unified, right? Everyone's still saying I'm a Trinidadian, I'm a Jamaican, we're all Caribbean, right? So I said, okay, we're going to end all that. And we're going to have a CARICOM mantra on top of that. So now we're representing as one, which is 44 million people, right? So it's equivalent to Canada, right? So now you just opened up 44 million in a hot place, right? And then I said, okay, I brought my other boy on, and he's like, okay, we want to do this for the Latin community. So we'll talk about that too and just do.
Sí, señor.
Yeah, so we'll put that together, right? So now I'm like, okay, how do we bring trade and investment from the Canadian lens overseas, and how do we bring trade and investment overseas back to Canada? And we build a global market. Last night I was out with the Polish team. People are like, hey, you're with the Polish group over here. The week before I was with the Philippines,
That's what I'm saying.
I'm all over.
You're going to be prime minister or something.
I'm going to start learning different languages, and that's it. But I think the major takeaway to answer your question is just be diversified and be respectful of people, and really hone into other communities, and you'll really see that we're all similar. We're all very, very much doing the same type of thing.
Love it. So inspiring. Shawn Allen in the house, finally made it to the show. That's it. That's the show. Alfonso loves you. We'll see you at the top. Let's go.
That's it.
We made that announcement. Someone must have caught it. Someone must have been listening. Where's the next expand?
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Genius Podcast, presented in part by Expand Investor Conference, this May 16th to 18th in Edmonton, Alberta. Get your tickets now at wealthgenius.ai/expand, and we'll see you at the top.